This video is for teenage girls or guys that are overcome with their love for a K-pop star. And that's not going to be all our viewers. So don't watch this video. If it doesn't apply to you, you don't need to watch this video. That's okay. I don't care about the views.
My Korean husband.
Hi guys, I'm Nicola. Some of you may know me from the blog and everything like that. Some of you might not know me. Usually, I have my husband with me doing these videos. He doesn't actually have much to say about this video. As you can probably see from the title, this is about being in love with a K-pop star, and if you are in love with a K-pop star, I am here to help you out, hopefully, I don't know. So this isn't going to be one of those videos that's really condescending and dismissive and being like, oh, teenage girls, they're so stupid. It's not one of those videos. I really am here. I'm gonna try to help you work through these feelings. So I think the whole teenage girl, fangirl obsession, especially when it comes to K-pop, is something that's often seen really negatively, and of course that can manifest in really bad ways. You hear about that all the time. But I think also it can impact people's lives in ways that the outside world might not actually know about, especially if you're an introvert and you have a really sort of rich fantasy life. I think it's really easy to sort of get sucked into the whole K-pop world and having these fantasies and feeling like you're really, really in love with a K-pop star. Now, if you're a teenage girl, I feel like of course you're going to be liking these guys. I mean, the guys around you probably suck. I remember when I was in high school and oh my god, the guys were all terrible. You were probably surrounded by these immature, ugly, disgusting guys, and then you watch K-pop and you're like, wow, oh my god, these guys look really talented and they're really handsome and they're really they sing well and they seem like really cool guys. Like, of course that is more appealing. Like, people shouldn't laugh at that. Of course that's more appealing. So you may be obsessed with a particular member of whatever group that you like best, and even if you don't admit it to people, or maybe you do admit it to people, you might have these dreams that, you know, one day you're gonna meet and he's gonna fall in love with you and you're going to get married and you're going to live happily ever after. I mean, it's fine to have daydreams. It's fine to have daydreams like that, but I think the problem comes in is when you really think that this is meant to happen, that your feelings are so strong that there's no way that this can't happen. And that's when we start to just get into some dangerous territory. And I don't mean like sasaeng fangs, I don't mean dangerous like that. I just mean dangerous for your mental health and for the future and adjusting to the things that are going to happen. Okay, so how do we deal with these feelings? And deep down, you probably know deep down, okay, you're not going to get married to this guy, that's not going to happen. But you probably have all these feelings of like, well, how can this not happen? I love him so much. How can this not happen? It's gotta happen, right? Okay, so one of the first ways to come to terms with this, and I'm speaking from a lot of personal experience here, one of the first ways is to realize that this guy does not exist. Sure, there's a guy that looks like this guy and has the same name, and there's a guy in your head and on the TV shows and the music videos, but he actually doesn't exist. It's all a persona. The real him, you actually don't know that much about, really. You can't be in love with someone you don't actually know. And I know sometimes people will be like, but I've watched every single performance they've been in, every single interview they've done. I feel like I know them. You have to think of it as an illusion. So K-pop stars in particular definitely have personas for the public, and then in their private life they might be quite similar to their public persona, or they could be completely different. And I've actually seen this in real life, how different some people can be when they're not in the public eye. So tell yourself that you're in love with a persona, like a fictional character. Think of it more like a fictional character, and then hopefully it won't be too hard on you, because the person that you think you know, they don't exist. They're fictional, they're an illusion. Especially in K-pop, there is so much about it is just illusion. Another step is to acknowledge that your oppa is going to date someone else is going to marry someone else. In fact, K-pop stars are all dating each other. Like, it's quite a well-known secret that they're all dating each other, but you don't actually really hear about it until somebody gets caught. Even if they're not dating another K-pop star, they're probably dating someone secretly anyway. And that person they're dating, they might not be like a famous person, but they've got the means of meeting somebody who is a K-pop star, which they're already way ahead of you anyway, as depressing as that's gonna be. Okay, this is showing my age, but I just want to talk about my personal experience. Back when I was 13, I fell in love with a band called Hanson, and some of you might not know who that is. Some of you might know and you might be laughing. Yes, Hanson. So I had a somewhat unhealthy obsession with Taylor Hanson, the middle one, the cute one. And even though deep down I knew it wasn't gonna happen, I just had this feeling of like, well, what if I met him somehow, and what if, you know, we got married or something? And then he got his girlfriend pregnant at age 18, and they got married at age 18. So you think it's shocking when, you know, your oppas come out and they've been dating this other girl secretly or something like that, and it's just dating. No, this was like marriage. This is like completely off the market. And back then the internet was so slow, and they didn't announce like dating or engagement, or they just announced the wedding. So on their official site they announced the wedding, and the internet was so slow, and they were showing the wedding photos, and I just remember like waiting for these photos to download, like and like still hoping like, no, this can't be happening. He can't be married. Like, what is this? And then like eventually the photos download and it's like, no. And of course, to anybody looking in from the outside, it's ridiculous that I was upset about this. I think I secretly cried in my room. Like, I feel like I was very sort of like, oh, I don't care, whatever, but like inside, I was heartbroken. And I know so many other girls at the time that were heartbroken too. But the truth of it is, looking back, if I had had the opportunity to marry Taylor Hanson back then, how far I've come in my life looking back, would I want to do that? No, I actually think it would be terrible to be married to him now. Like, that is not what I ended up wanting for my life. So yeah, you know, lots of things that seem terrible at the time end up being really good in the long run. Who you are in your 20s and your 30s is so different to who you are in your teen years, and you can feel so heartbroken, but I guarantee you'll get over it. I guarantee things will get way better. Okay, let's talk about the emotions you have when people criticize your favorite group, and it's really hurtful. I know what that's like. I liked Hanson. They were criticized so much. It didn't matter that they wrote their own songs and played their instruments and everything like that. They had long hair, so they were girly, so they were up for ridicule, and it was such a difficult thing to actually be a Hanson fan. Like, we got a lot of crap thrown at us, and it was difficult. And I always say that Hanson were my stepping stone to androgynous like K-pop guys. Like, I definitely think there's some link there. But yes, I feel like I wasted so much time trying to convert people. I wasted so much time doing street teaming and trying to promote them and all this stuff. And I think about all the emotion that I spent on that, and it was such a waste. So my advice is, like, you know, love the group that you love, but understand that other people are not going to like them. Some people are going to say really hurtful, mean things about them, but just don't engage in that, and don't engage in fan wars. And I know it's so tempting sometimes, still now as a Big Bang fan, I will see some things and I'll be like, but like, don't engage with it, don't engage with it. Okay, so if I haven't helped you so far and you still think, no, I am really in love with this K-pop star, I know him, I really do, I think that I could actually be with him. Okay, so if you're watching this video you're probably not Korean because I'm speaking in English and we have a really large, like a lot of our viewers are international people. So obviously, first hurdle is language. A lot of K-pop stars don't really speak English that well, even if you speak Korean. Language, I mean, I'm married to a Korean man. Language can be quite difficult. And the second thing is cultural differences. Now, cultural differences is not just, oh, we eat different food, or I sit on a chair and you sit on the floor. It is so much more than that, and it can be really, really difficult sometimes. So if you have a fantasy about marrying a Korean guy, it's probably this fantasy that you'll live in this cute hipster apartment and it'll just be the two of you and it'll be so nice and romantic, and that's not the reality of marrying a Korean man. It won't be like that at all. You will be marrying into another family. So you'll have all these expectations on you, not just the whole like celebrity life, but all these expectations on you from family and outside people. And marriage is hard enough as it is, but when you put in cultural differences and all this extra pressure, it is not going to be some cute fantasy in a hipster apartment where you live happily ever after. So if you need a reality check, think about that type of thing. Also, don't date a Korean guy in the hopes that there'll be some K-pop star replacement. Just don't do that. Okay, so as a teenage girl, you are going to get so much flack for just being a teenage girl. So, you know, when girls cry because a member left a group, they get so much crap for crying over a member leaving. You know, these are people that they care about and they're upset at this situation. They get so much crap. And yet grown men will cry when their favorite sports team loses. They might even riot in the streets. But that's okay apparently according to society because they're men. There's so many double standards and so many sucky things in society like that, so just be aware of that. So society sucks that way, but don't let society kill your passion. I think one of the great things about being a teenage girl is you actually, hopefully, have so much passion for things. Like you can have so much passion for things. You can have so much motivation for things because you have so much drive. So rather than having an unhealthy obsession, you can channel that energy into something creative. Fan art, drawing, video editing, blogging, singing, dancing, music. Like there's so many things that you can channel that energy into. Okay, one of the other dangers of feeling like you're loving someone so much is it's so easy to flip over to hate. And we see that a lot, right, in K-pop. Like you see that so much with people that they love someone so much and then suddenly the next day they hate them so much. Keep your love and admiration respectful so that there's no chance of it just flipping over to hate like that. Sometimes people tag Tumblr posts, like it'll be a photo of their bias and they feel like they love them so much and they'll be like, you little shit, in the tags and that type of thing because they're so overcome with attraction and emotion and love that they express it in a really negative way like that. And I know it just seems like it's fun and it's just whatever, but if your bias was actually to see something like that, he's not going to understand it and it's going to be quite hurtful. And it's the same when people leave comments on YouTube videos or, you know, stars Instagrams and that type of thing. They're not invincible. They have feelings too. They have really bad days and they don't understand that this is coming from a point of love and obsession. They just see it as something really negative directed to them. So just be really careful with that. I think if you keep your love for a group quite healthy, then there doesn't need to be an expiration date. There doesn't need to be a time when you feel like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I putting so much energy into this? If you don't get to that point with obsession, then you can keep being a fan and it's fine. You can be older and be a fan. It's fine. I feel like that's what happened with me, that I was too obsessed with Hanson and eventually it changed almost to hate. Like I almost flipped over to hate and I ended up disliking so many things and I just felt like I wasted so much time. But then as an adult, when I discovered Big Bang and some other K-pop, and because I was a lot older, I sort of kept my love a little bit more just, I don't know, not as obsessed like that. And of course, I feel like, yes, I'm still obsessed with Big Bang and that type of thing, but being an adult and being married, it's so much easier to deal with than that raw teenage obsession that I had with Hanson. So when I like groups now, it's not affecting my life in a negative way. It's something that's purely positive. I mean, and that's what this should be. This entertainment, this music should be something positive for our lives. And I think it's a real problem when these things become something that's quite negative in our life. Okay, final point is, if you're a fan, it automatically means that you can't be with this guy anyway. If everything was to somehow come together and you had the opportunity to meet him and he liked you. Okay, yeah, there's K-pop stars in interviews and that, they'll say, yeah, sure, I'll date a fan, that's fine. What they mean by that is that they would date a normal person who casually listens to their music, not a hardcore fan that's collected all the information about them and would stalk them if they could. That's not what they mean. There's been incidents where YouTube stars have dated fans, and that has caused a lot of criticism because it's not a fair relationship. If one person is already the fan of the other person and they're quite obsessed, and that doesn't make an equal relationship because one person has all the power. And when you have a relationship and the power balance is really out, it can be really, really unhealthy. So simply the fact that you believe that you are so in love with this guy and you're already obsessed with him automatically means that you will never be with him. I mean, that's the horrible, horrible, ironic truth, I guess. But you know what? You can still daydream about it. You can still write fan fiction about it. You can still have these fantasies in your head. That's okay. Just know the difference between reality and a fantasy. And lastly, those intense feelings you feel as a teenager, they fade. Your emotions level out and your hormones settle down. Life is not always going to be like this. That intensity of feeling like you love someone so much, someone that you've never met, that feeling, that goes away. I mean, and maybe in some ways that's really sad, but I guarantee you that your life will get better. Okay, that's my video. I really hope that was helpful for some of you. I feel like I needed to hear some of this stuff when I was younger and I went through obsessions of this type of thing. So I wanted to create a resource for people. Okay, if you're new here, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Usually I have my husband here doing stuff with me, and we do a whole bunch of stuff. And I also make comics about our life, and that's over on the blog. There'll be a link somewhere. And bye!